Dr. Young, and I'm going to go over your week 3 work. Week 3, we're going to discuss creating a resume. This is an important part of your portfolio and probably one of the most important document that you will create as part of that in order to seek a position in your chosen career. So let's go to, here we go, the assignments. You get to design your resume and cover letter. So make sure to read pages 105 to 130. So we're going to talk about the components of the resume. And also references. Let's just go to the discussion first. Consider those you have worked with who would be best able to write a reference for you. If you've had a recent job and would like to use that role as a good example of your work, why not send a letter to your manager? I mean, I would really, the things in this class are actionable right now. You can do these things now. So I don't want you to think of this course as a hypothetical. You are doing these little pieces of your portfolio to really use it for your job hunt, or whenever you're trying to get your foot in the door in a career, or if you're just trying to advance in your company that you're already at. You still will need to compile these documents. So just make sure that you're moving along. And if you do have a position now, I would highly recommend you get a reference from your current position. And you may be able to ask someone, would you provide a reference for me? You're going to school, you want to graduate, you're thinking about pursuing whatever position. And for this assignment, in your discussion, you're sharing the initials of 2 professional colleagues or supervisors that would be appropriate for writing a letter of reference for you. What's their job title? Why do you feel like they would be a good reference? In other words, what makes them a good reference? What do they know about you? What can they tell you? What can they say about you? Make sure you cover that in your discussion. What attributes would you like included in the reference letter? Consider 3 to 4 items which would speak well to your talents and skills. So what I want you to do is, whether it's a position that's higher up in your current company or it's a different career, think about the characteristics that are needed for that particular career or that position in that career, and think about how that can relate to your current job. And what can your supervisor or colleague, how can they describe you within that attribute or characteristic? In other words, if the job that you want requires the ability to deal with stressful situations, and you're in a job where you experience stressful situations and your boss or colleague has seen that, what would they say about you? What do you think that they could how can they add to the impression that you are calm under pressure? That's just one example. It could be attention to detail. It could be organizational skills. I mean, it could be a million things. So that's kind of how I want you to make those connections. So that's your discussion. And for your assignment, it's the resume, and you're going to create one actually. So that's a great. That'll be a really good exercise. And there are resume examples in your text. They're all over the internet. Just be more discerning on the internet, because some people put their resumes on the internet and they look horrible. So, try to go to a reputable site. Okay. So you need a career objective first. Your formal education or any degrees in process, work experience, professional memberships, community service, and your contact info. I would put your info on a heading though. I don't. That's last, but I wouldn't do that. And I have a CV, so you're making a resume. It's a different document. I would. I don't think we're going to discuss CVs here. So you're going to do that. So make a heading with your name and your address. I would use a header for this contact info and all that, and then go into the objective, education, work experience, and all these elements here. A cover letter is written to introduce your resume. It's supposed to be like a summary of your skills, a summary that talks about it highlights your skills, qualifications. Um, Identify your job objectives. Indicate your enthusiasm. Illustrate you've done your homework. You might introduce yourself and talk about the company and what you know about the company. A lot of people will say, I was drawn to your company because blah, 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 A, B, C, D, some of the things that you may have researched about the company to give an impression that you know about the job organization and you've really done your homework. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for in a cover letter. You might talk about why you want to work there. You might talk about the organization. Maybe you want to work there. You can talk about the reputation, some of the things they've done, maybe some social responsibility initiatives, things that, some good media or that you may have seen about the company and that drew you to the company. And then you can go into, here's why I'm a good fit for this position. And then you might, talk about that. So this is a way to kind of show your own personality to the prospective employer. So that's what the cover letter's for. The resume should be one page. There's guidelines on 113, 121. I will say this. One thing is you want to avoid passive verbs. You want active verbs. And secondly, you definitely want to quantify any achievements that you have made, if possible. In other words, don't use vague terms like improved. I don't know. Let's say it's a finance job or accounts payable or receivable or something, and you're saying I improved the billing processes, or I did. No, you need to give specific examples. I increased my sales, and I'm just going to throw out sales now. I increased my sales by 50%, or I decreased days to pay on billing invoices, from 45 days to 30 days. You see, I'm getting specific numbers here. If there's anything you can quantify it. That is always better. You don't want to use vague terms that really leave someone in the air like, well, what does that mean? If I'm a recruiter and I'm looking at your resume, I don't want to see, well, she improved on this whatever, by, it just, and that's it. They're going to look for, I want to see percentages. I want to see numbers whenever possible. Not everything is that easy, but if you can do it, do it. What are the major headings you will use for your resume? What is most important to highlight on your resume? What length should these are the things you're going to think about when you're writing your resume. What length should a resume be for a college graduate? What advice does the text offer? What has been your observation in the work setting? Some people will tell you that, well, no, you can have 2 or 3 pages. I had a shorter resume, and then I had applied for more teaching jobs, and then I had actually was told that I needed to make mine a lot longer because I just had a lot of experience in college degrees, so I needed to. I had, for what I'm doing, I taught a lot of classes. I had to list every class and all of my course descriptions, and let me tell you, I am qualified to teach a lot of courses. So I had to add all that, every single one I've ever taught, and that was pages. Because they want to know that. They want to know exactly what the course description is and what I taught. So that's just an example. Some people have extensive work experience, it's very individual, but if you don't have special situations like that, you want to keep it as short as you can while still conveying the necessary information. See, there's a balance. So, what are the major components of a cover letter? What is most important to highlight as you briefly overview your skills? We kind of talked about this, but these are just the prompts I'm going to read. What are 1 or 2 accomplishments that you could add to your cover letter? Give an example and comment on those of your classmates. So remember, accomplishments, quantify if you can. Sometimes you just can't, but if you can. Some careers are easy to quantify than others, depending on what you do. So that's it. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. You can always send me an early draft as long as you get it to me before Friday so that I can turn it back around. But this is really, if you already have a resume, just go through it and modify it, add things, like as I went over some of the key points. You can modify it. Otherwise, if you're starting from scratch, try to keep it to a page. Unless you just, but again, and I'm going to tell you this, if you have a lot of experience that you feel it needs to be in there, if you go over, that's fine. Again, it is a balance of conciseness, but getting everything that's relevant into the resume. And some people have more experience than others or things to add. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to assist you. And let's have a great week. Thanks.